Hey, 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 hey. Where y'all at? Light up my chat because this has been a day and I need to hear from my peeps. Okay? Welcome to Ask Alma. I'm your host. You got it. I'm Alma. How y'all doing? Oh my goodness. What a day it has been. I am so glad that I have my peeps with me today because I'm going to need them to push a sister up. Let me just say, every Zoom, every conversation, every work, whatever was like, really? Like, so come on in. Let me see how you doing. Hi, Annette. Glad to see you. Diva. Oh, my goodness. Marilu. Girl. Brazy Leap. Check out my curls, okay? With my locks. Check out my curls. I know, right? Mary Lou. Put it in the chat. Let them know where they can go get the sister locks from, okay? Anyway. Hello. Excuse me before I bring on my team. Y'all don't tell them. Let me take a quick sip. Mm-hmm. I told y'all it's been that kind of day. So, Ask Alma is live on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. That's right. You can watch us on Twitter. You can watch us on Facebook. And you can catch us on YouTube. And you know what? I am so happy about that, right? Oh my gosh, right? So, I have a great team with me today, my favorites. Hi, Vanessa. Hey, Carol. Hi. Come on in, my favorites. Y'all, I got Maurice with me. The cute one. We got fineness on the show tonight, and I'm okay with that. Hello, Maurice. How are you?
Hey, Gill.
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm not ignoring y'all. Javon D, how y'all doing?
Hey, hello. How you doing? I'm happy that you're drinking that wine out of a glass. That it wasn't so bad you were drinking it straight from the bottle. But okay, we're here for you.
You know what? I'm glad you said that.
She did, Vanessa. She did just take a drink, Vanessa. Vanessa said, did she just take a drink? She did.
And Vanessa, I actually had the bottle. And I had the bottle, Vanessa. I had the bottle with a straw.
Hey, Danielle.
And then D was like, okay, girl.
Live.
Right.
She went live.
We have reputations to maintain, right? Get a glass.
Get a glass. Hi, Kelly and Tamia. Those are my cousins. Y'all know my cousins ride with me, and I'm so grateful for it. Hey, now. That makes me
all 110 of them.
That's right. All 129 of them. That's right. Yes. We don't play. As a matter of fact, these women will take over Alexandria, Virginia. We got news for you.
Yes, they will. They come deep.
We come deep. And if it is a breakup or a divorce, you got to move because we're not going to let you stay in town. Right. It's not happening.
Can't stay in town.
No, you cannot. Tracy!
You got to go across the bridge.
You got to go across the bridge.
Yes.
Fort Washington.
You pick one. Whatever one you want to go across.
Fort Washington will welcome you, but Alexandria has had enough. Bessie!
You can go well into Richmond.
Right? Down.
Hi, Bessie.
That's worse than a shotgun rating right there. If you're sending them to Richmond.
They need to go.
Ooh, they have got to go. Okay. So you guys know I have to do the disclaimer. We are not clinical psychologists. We offer straight up common sense, and it don't cost you nothing. Sit in the seat or lay on your couch, whatever you need to do, and we're going to help you with some common sense situations tonight, because that's what we do. That's right, y'all, right? That's what we do.
Cousin Kelly said you need to go to Canada if you leave this thing.
I don't think that's far enough.
Right.
Hi, Jane.
No, it probably isn't. Hi, Jane.
Jane O'Donnell, how are you?
Drinking?
I know, right? Put the glass down.
You're not sipping it. She's drinking it.
I'm drinking it. I'm telling y'all, really, I rarely have a bad day. I rarely, because I just don't operate that way. And I just do not ever accept that kind of energy. But today I had to rely on other people to take care of stuff for me. And let me just say, it was quite trying. Quite. That's all I'm saying. But I am pulling it together. And, you know how people say, I need to remind you, if you can't control it, let it go. Can't control it.
Hi, Jane. Jane says, I want to make sure you're not pulling the Hoda and Kathy Lee route. No, we're not there yet.
No.
You know one of them, don't you? Don't you know one of those ladies?
Yeah, I went to high school with Hoda Kotb. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I thought there was some.
Yes, I know her, and I mentioned her. Hi, Tina Daniels, Purple Rain Drink. You know it, girl. Tina went to, I know Tina from high school, and Tina went to high school with Hoda too. Hi, Kate. Okay. But I saw Hoda at NABJ, and I said hello to her in passing, thinking, you know, this woman sees a million people all the time.
Right.
And so I don't think we had seen each other from high school at 17. We were at NABJ, and I was in my 30s, so was she. And she was like, Alma, is that you? I was like, girl. She was like, get over here. Like, she just left where she was standing, where she was filming. And it was really sweet. It was very, very sweet of her.
I'm not really sure why you think she wouldn't have remembered you.
Right.
But,
I don't know. Yeah. I just,
right. Is anyone here surprised that she remembered her? No.
I was taken aback a little bit. I was surprised.
Right.
Hi, Sharon. How are you doing? So tonight on Ask Alma, we have 3 questions. Last week, we only had 2 questions because things got a little fired up when we were talking about the church, and you know how that can go. So that actually showed me that I need to distance my church-related questions that come in because the Christians on the line, let me tell you, they tend to extend a long period of time, which is fine. But we didn't get to our 3rd question last week, which was very nicely done by Dana. She was our VVR last week, and I really appreciate her doing that for us. And I want to recognize that she will be on this week. And thanks, Dana. And I hope you're watching, or you can catch a rerun, because y'all know you can catch Ask Alma reruns, right? Just in case your friends and family miss you tonight, they can go on YouTube and do a search for Ask Alma Live. Something about when I say that, I just love it. But you can do a search, and all of our past episodes will show up, and that's a wonderful thing. So one other thing that I want to mention is, if you have a question, you can videotape or shoot me an email at alwaysaskalma@gmail.com. Like, if you want to videotape yourself, that's fine. If you don't, no problem. We got you. Because, like, if you don't want your family to know that you're talking about them, or like your mother-in-law to know you really don't like her.
Wow.
We got you. Right, Patrice? That's my sister. We got you. Because I'm going to ask Patrice to read your question so your family will not know that it's you. And then we can give you sage, common sense advice about your family, and they won't even know. So, please.
That depends on your family.
I was going to say, you know.
You think they might know
enough for me.
Everybody got those CSI folks in their family, so now.
Yeah, no.
Yes, Jane, ask me a question. You can ask me a question right now. You want to know why? Because you know me. You got connections. You got inside. That's right. Inside info. You know the host. So, yes.
Is there anyone in there that can take that wine glass away?
No.
I think that's going to be fantastic.
Take the glass, she's going to come back with the bottle. So,
All right, so we'll let her keep the glass tonight. You know, today is actually National Wine Day.
Is it really?
I knew that.
I got a text message that said that it was a National Wine Day. Today is another day of celebration, isn't it?
Ava's birthday!
Yay!
Yay, everybody! It is my granddaughter, Ava. It's Ava's birthday.
You have to look like, take the picture and go away.
She's posing for that picture.
Right.
Ava turns 8.
Money.
Yes. Ava turns 8 years old today. I'm so excited. And I want to say a lot of fantastic things about Ava, but you guys already know how fantastic she is because I talk about her all the time. So I will use this quick moment to say she brings me so much joy. Oh my goodness, like just way more joy than I could have ever imagined. So thank you, Ava. Grandma loves you, girl. So let's see. Jane has posted her question. How do you and your panelists feel about the use of antidepressants for depression and anxiety, especially when it is pandemic induced and people are really struggling? I know how I feel about that. Panel, did you guys see that?
I like the answer. Haitian family would know right away. That's very true. Yeah, we will know right away. And you
talking about me. Yes. I have a lot of Haitian friends. Yes.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say I think Jane's question would be better suited if we got it as a question and had time to really give it some thought and answer the question. There's a lot packed there for us to speak to on the fly. So maybe we can store that for next week.
Yeah, that is one that we do want to offer sage advice and not like me and my glass of wine saying, you know what? No,
we do not want that.
Yeah.
No.
I had a serious answer, but yeah. So Jane, thank you for that question. I think it's a great question, and I also agree. It is pretty deep, so we'll let next week's panelists answer that one, and this week's panelists will stick to the 3 that we have readily available for them. Is that Donnie? Is that my Donnie? Donnie, I'm hugging you. You know I am. That's my nephew, Donnie. Love him. He's been on the show, y'all. He did the show with me. So thank you, Jane, for that question. I appreciate it. And you're going to have to come back and see me next Tuesday so you can get the answer. Okay. All right, you guys. I think we're ready for question number 1. Y'all ready?
Yes.
Bring it.
Let's hit it.
Hello, I'm Dana Mee Goins from Jacksonville, Florida. And I am this week's volunteer video reader. Here's the question. Hey, Alma. I really enjoyed your show last week, and it reminded me of a situation I had with my husband. Remember when you discussed the husband that never says, I love you? Well, my husband never says, I'm sorry. When he is wrong, he will buy me flowers, get my oil change, and even cook dinner for a couple of weeks. But he has never said, I'm sorry. He has had several affairs during our marriage, and he has said he won't do it again, but not that he is sorry. I think when a person is wrong, they should at least apologize and admit what they've done. Please discuss on your panel, what does it mean when a person does not say, I'm sorry?
Okay, recap.
Sure.
She says that, first, hey, JV, because that's my cousin, y'all. I gotta drop her name in there too. Hey, girl. Anyway, so this woman says, remember when we talked about the husband who wouldn't say I love you? And it reminded her that her husband never says, I'm sorry. She says he has had several affairs and he said he won't do them again, but he doesn't say I'm sorry. Like, he will buy her gifts, cook dinner, try to become the husband of the year, I guess, but no, I'm sorry. So what do we think about that? And Maurice, don't start, because I only because
like, oh,
right, exactly,
right.
Yes. Good. I'm sorry.
That only because I want Maurice in the middle. I want Maurice in the middle of these two women offering their 2 cents worth on why they don't think he says I'm sorry. So D, you look like you popping out your seat.
When I first heard the question, I really thought it was something simple. Him not saying you're sorry is the least of her worries. I mean, and why would he? I mean, he's had multiple affairs, and sorry is not the issue here. And if he had the first affair and he didn't say sorry, and you forgave him without it, then why in the world would he now, start apologizing? I can buy a couple of flowers, maybe take you on a little trip, and then I can go back to square one. So I say that him not saying he's sorry is minor compared to the issues on the table.
Can I go now?
Yes, Maurice.
Well, I mean, he might have said that he didn't say he was sorry, but he was trying to show her. Is this thing where has he always been like this in the beginning of the relationship? Some people don't say certain things, but they try to show you in the same way. But the one thing, to piggyback off of D said, there's a bigger issue. And from my perspective, I want to know if he's had several affairs, have they sat down to figure out why? What's the missing piece? What between them is not working? Because she didn't say he was having another one. It automatically piggyback, oh, he's had these several affairs. Has he had one recently, or is she still holding to that? Because sometimes when you say, I forgive you, then are you really forgiving him? Or every time something comes up, or you see something on television, or you hear something, you're going to bring it back up.
Right.
So is that how
I think you sent the question to Donnie in advance, did you? Because he's just chirping away over here.
I did not.
But that could be a double-edged sword. Like, you need to address one, why he was having the affairs, and you saying he's not saying I'm sorry or whatever. But what kind of communications are you having? Because if he's doing all these different things, but you're almost saying like that's not enough. So are you, versus me cooking and doing all these different things, would you rather me not do those things and simply say I'm sorry?
Yeah. You know what, Maurice? I don't think I have ever heard. I'm coming to you, Javon. Honestly, I'm coming to you next. I just want to say I have never heard the response. Did they sit down and discuss why? Like, usually when there's an affair, everybody is so angry at the person who did it that why they did it doesn't really come up initially. And I want to piggyback on that for a minute and come back to that point, because almost instantly I thought, wow, I don't think I've ever wondered why. And when you said it, it was huge. And so that's good. That's excellent. And I hope everybody will, hit the brakes right there for a minute, because I'm sure this wife is watching. I know she's watching, as a matter of fact. And that is great advice for you. Why? Why is he doing that? Maybe he can explain that to you. I understand you're wanting an apology, but like Dee said, maybe the why would be more important than an apology, which is something that doesn't seem like he's able to give you. Javon, what are you thinking? Yeah. Well, jump in, you guys.
No, go ahead.
So, what I was going to say, I think there's a couple of things happening here, right? So she leads up with, oh, if he doesn't do this, then he'll cook dinner. He'll bring flowers. He'll make sure my oil is changed. So she has all of these rationalizations and justifications for why these like minor cuts, if you will, are okay. And then she hits us with the big flash of like, oh, and by the way, he's had several affairs to which he hasn't said sorry. Almost as if like if he said sorry, then that makes everything okay.
They would be okay.
Right.
But then going back to Maurice's point and to Dee's point, you don't know why he's having affairs. And then also I think another question you will want to ask yourself is, do you really just want the sorry? Because it does not sound like he is sorry about the behavior at all. So why is he participating in these affairs? Why does he care so little about your feelings, about your own well-being in this relationship, that he will continue to not only do the small things, but have the affairs as well? And if you're willing to just accept the I'm sorry,
or not, because he's not saying
right. That
he's not saying I'm sorry.
Issues that you kind of need to kind of examine of what's happening here.
Mm-hmm. Is he still having him though? That's the thing. It's like she went from 1 to 100. Like, is that still happening? And if they have the conversation, they could find out it may be something simple. Like I've been in a conversation like that, and it's a thing of the person likes control. They would lose the control, so they wanted to go to where they can get the one thing they're not getting. Because one thing about a male, if there's something wrong, a male will say little things because they know that a woman can say anything to a man and when they're upset, but a man cannot do the same. It does not work both ways in a lot of relationships. So he will say different things, but the thing is, I wonder, is she listening to the things that he's saying?
When he's
tuned up
in the relationship, when he's trying to express why he isn't happy and why he's doing the things that he's doing. Right.
Well, Eric says people don't ask why, because then it's blaming the victim. A marriage commitment is supposed to be no matter what. And Pat says, even if he said it, could you believe it? Sorry, I won't do it again. Does it again anyway.
And I think Kay had mentioned that if he says, well, because I can, then what?
Answering the why is only important that the answer makes sense to her.
Right.
What if he said it because I can? Then what?
If he doesn't answer. I mean, the thing is something happening because something is amiss. Something's not there. Something's not right that he sees, or maybe she doesn't see, or both, or however you want to mix it. You know, the only way to move that positively forward is to find out. Because if not, he's going to keep doing the same thing and she's going to keep having the same feelings. And this is just going to be a perpetual cycle.
Right.
And I wonder if the answer is because he can.
Right.
Like if there's no, because actions, if there's a consequence based on your choice of action, especially in a marriage, and there is no consequence, why would one fix that?
Right.
And that has nothing to do with saying I'm sorry.
And Mary Lou says, my brother always said a man has an affair because he can and wants to.
Because he can and he wants to.
Well, the same applies for women.
Absolutely. I mean, goes both ways.
Affairs are choices. Yeah. I mean, I'm afraid of jail, so I don't steal. But if I have no fear of that, then, or if I steal once and get away with it, I'm probably going to keep stealing.
Right. Because the thing for me, go ahead, Javon.
Well, I was going to say, going back to, they've never really discussed the affair. So, okay, fine. So he can have an affair because he can. Well, you've never said, I don't want you to have an affair. I don't want you to step out on my marriage. Like, this is some BS. What the hell is going on? So there were never any boundaries. There were never any limits. Yeah, he can because he can. There was never a discussion on like what type of marriage or what type of relationship you guys wanted to have.
You know, in all fairness, we don't know if she's ever said anything about it. In all fairness, we don't know that. Sure. But the reality is, you get married, you know you're not supposed to have an affair. I shouldn't have to say to my husband, oh, and by the way, I don't want you sleeping with other women, right? No side beauty. But you shouldn't have to do that.
Right. But let's not also say that he's having a big, I mean, it was mentioned because he can. That may not be the reason. Sure. I mean, there could be a more deeper, emotional, intellectual, whatever reason for it. I mean, I think that's the thing. they need to sit down and figure out. And I think a lot of people are afraid of that. If there's a problem, you need to say something and sit down and figure out why. Because if not, it's just going to balloon into something more.
Right. And I also think that too, Maurice, both of us are saying it needs to be a consequence. Like I do not and have not had an affair because I don't want to hurt my husband. Like I love my husband, and y'all who know my husband, he can be a bit much. I can too. So we got a little bit of a perfect match right there. Where I got some mess going on, he's pretty straight in that order, and where he's got some mess.
You complement each other.
There you go. Yes.
Yin and a
more,
yang.
It is a yin and a yang.
Absolutely.
But more than that, honestly, and I'm not saying people don't see, a fine guy, and I don't think automatically I want to sleep with him or anything, but I see men who are very attractive. I know my husband sees women who are very attractive. But bottom line, I wouldn't have an affair because I know that would hurt him. Like there are some things that I do that may hurt him, but I can honestly say if I did, I didn't know it would hurt him.
It's not intentional or malicious.
Intentional.
Right.
Yes, right. I could come to him and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm really sorry.
So really don't you think multiple affairs is malicious?
Yeah,
and intentional. Multiple affairs.
Well, if like Maurice said, has there been a discussion? If he had an affair and it was like, okay, you hurt me, and then he said nothing, then what is that? Because it has to, like, what is it that you wouldn't do that would hurt your mate? All of us can think of something that we absolutely would not do in our marriage. I mean, that's a given. So the fact that he can keep doing it means that the care is not deep enough for that.
Right.
Which to me,
there's no need for a discussion.
Right. There's no need, and there's no need for, and I'm sorry, because in that situation, for me, there needs to be action, because it's almost like he doesn't get it with your words and your tears or your all that goes along with the wife who been heartbroken by her husband's affair. So like it would have to be action, even if you didn't want your marriage to end, in my opinion. Then, put him out for 6 months, or you leave for 3. Like it has to be a shakeup, because if it's going on and continuing, then he doesn't see
there's no reason for it.
There's an unseen dynamic that I would like to know what it is. Is it something that he's and his family, that's how marriages work? Like he grew up seeing that constantly. I mean, there could be so many factors to his actions, or it could be just like you said, he's just doing it to do it.
Right.
But I mean, there could be something simple, it could be something deep. But either way, if the conversations aren't being had, no one would ever figure it out.
Right.
Well, Maurice, wouldn't you say that as an adult male, if you know that if I have a family dynamic that causes me to do something that hurts people around me, as an adult, there should be some ownership and decision to fix it. If I'm an alcoholic because alcohol is one of my family and I see that it affects my new family, then I, as the adult, need to respond to that. I'm sure you're not suggesting this, but don't you think that he should, if it's one of those things, if it isn't just, I don't care about my wife, I want to sleep around. If there are things about me that come from my history, shouldn't he be taking some action of his own to fix that instead of relying on this conversation that they need to have to fix it?
Well, let's play devil's advocate for a second. If that is your dynamic, and that is the perspective that you have grown accustomed to living, because you've seen your father's father, uncle, what have you, and everyone around you is doing that same behavior.
Brothers.
Do you know that behavior A is incorrect, if that is what is being presented in your community? So you may not know that is bad behavior.
Right.
And if that hasn't been communicated, or your wife has not said, hey, despite every other male doing X, Y, Z, I need your butt here in the house and not over at old girl's house.
And so even if your dad did it, Didn't it
Right.
hurt your mom? Didn't you see that? Okay, you
Right.
saw that your dad did it. Did you see the tears of your mother? Did
And
like
she
her
may not
heart
have
break?
shed any tears.
Right. She
She
could have
might
been
have
like,
like put on the
whatever.
strong,
Right.
we black women like to
Yes.
swallow pain like
Yes.
nobody's business. And so
Well, lots
we
of
don't know
women.
if she
Well,
is
Lots
swallowing
of
her
women do.
pain.
Yeah. And
Right.
it's some white women that's got some big doggone bank accounts that's swallowing it too. Although I
This
think
is
with the
true.
big bank account, it might be a little bit easier
You
for you to tap
a
them
little,
know,
tears.
swallowing, right?
right.
Wow.
The Kleenex
Wow.
are a lot
I think I
nicer
think I
than
think
the
all
gloves,
women I
but
think all women have a all
Yes,
women,
yes.
will respond based on what they've seen their ancestors do. I don't dispute that. But
Yeah.
I think the issue here isn't her eating it. I think the issue is him taking responsibility inside. And I have a wife. So I either need to leave my wife or I need to find out why I want to do this to my wife
Right.
and fix
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it's her responsibility to fix him. And we all
No.
think we can,
I don't think
but
anybody's saying that. No.
I think he needs to address it. And again, back to the letter is we don't, she hid the lead of,
Right.
by
Right.
saying, oh, he won't say he's sorry. Oh, by the
But then,
way,
by the way, and it just
right.
jumped like
right.
the
So
ocean.
I think that what she needs to address is not whether if he's sorry or not whether he says it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think collectively we like to say to you, his saying sorry is irrelevant at this point. Like you have other
Right.
things going on
Right.
that you need to
You got
address.
bigger fish.
So yeah, if you want to reach out to us and we narrow that down, that would be great. But the answer
And there
to
are
your
lots of
question is
professionals. There are lots of
yeah,
professionals that be willing to support her in this.
yeah. And who is Vicky Dillard? So Darnell Henderson says, please interview Vicky Dillard. Who is Vicky Dillard? I don't know. Oh, Darnell, tell me who Vicky Dillard is. I'm assuming she's somebody I that I you think we know.
Someone on the
And Darnell,
interwebs.
look, Darnell, you know I done had a couple of sips of wine, so I don't know who you're
You
talking
basically want to say
about.
who
Tell
she
her
is.
sister. Yeah, who she is.
In the famous words
Maurice, you're so
of
funny.
Color Purple. Harpo, who this?
Right.
Right.
Who
Who is
this?
Hoppo?
Who this? Who this, Harper?
I think the listeners need to, I know we have to move on, but I think for another male perspective, you need to go through the chat and read what Donnie had to say.
Oh,
Because
Donnie, yeah.
he has a whole different perspective on what she should do and how she should do it.
And from a male's point of view. So make
Right.
sure you read that. And you guys, I love that Barbara Woods Henderson is watching. Hi! That is
Jackie's.
Jackie's
Okay, Jackie's.
Jackie's mom. I'm with it. I know y'all think I'm losing. I know you do, girl.
Way up.
I was reading somebody else's
This comment.
yeah. Hi, Alvin. So that was great, you guys. Thank you. And Maurice, I got mad love for you. Thank you for the male point of view. Let's dig into question number 2.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Roy Bowie, and I will be the VVR for the evening. I've been taking care of people my whole life. The only person I really loved being there for and appreciated me was my mother. I went above and beyond for her and still feel like I failed her. What I'm realizing right now with mom gone, the kids gone, my nephews and nieces that I raised in my home gone and grown. To be the confident, smart woman I know I am, I've realized I really don't know who I am. I'm not even rediscovering. I'm seriously trying to figure out who the hell I am and what to do with me. It's a horrible feeling for someone who's been there for everyone and strong for everyone and could figure out everything for everyone else. And when it comes to myself, I don't know what the hell to do with me. Who am I and why am I here? Help me, asks Alma.
I really, really appreciate her question, because number one, she is not alone. And number two, I think we get to a point in life, men and women, that the dynamics shift. Especially, I think, when your mom passes away. That's huge. And it doesn't matter how old you are, but it rocks you to the core. And it does make you question, who am I? Because the person that you could always be was her daughter. No matter what, good, bad, or indifferent, that's who you could be. So I think the fact that it sounds to me that the parts of her life that have changed, her children have grown up, they don't need her. Her husband or whomever her partner is, there isn't necessarily not a lot of need in that area either. Her mom has passed away, and now it's like, what do I do? What do I do? And her question hit home for me because I went through the same thing. I went through the exact same thing, Cheryl, I want you to know. And it took a long time for me to figure out the answer to this question. So the one thing that I want to tell you before I hand this over to my panel is the answer is not going to come to you overnight. So the fact that it will take time for you to get to where you need to be with those answers, that's okay. Okay? It's okay.
Well, we have two immediate comments. One says try volunteering with different organizations and find something you're passionate about and do that. Or two offers from our viewers. Yeah.
On that one, I have I feel very familiar with that letter. I was a single parent of 2 boys. I think one way she can start is looking at it a different way. She can look at celebrating finding herself again versus looking at it in a negative point of view. Celebrate that you can now take the time at whatever age she is and rediscover yourself. Because a lot of people, when they get a certain age, they get in a certain rut, and I am the way I am. Right now, you are like a ball of clay. You can remold yourself. I would start by looking at things that you used to do, the things that you used to like, the thing that interests you along the way, those things that you said, if I didn't have the kids or had to do this or had to do that, I would be doing A, B, and C. I'm pretty sure there's a laundry list of those things. Write those things down and just go through a checklist. Yeah, I hated this. I really like that. This is okay. But in doing that, you're really discovering who you are as a person. Kind of, sort of, you are reinventing yourself, but the person you are is already there. Right. It's that it's been so dormant for so long. Now you have a chance to celebrate, to find you, and don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as a positive. Like you don't have all these things in your way, in a sense, to stop you from growing and becoming the person you need to be or want to be.
Yes, absolutely. And you don't have those other people to be an excuse, because for younger women who are now in that position where you have a husband and you have children and you're maybe the caregiver for your mom or somebody in the family right now, those aren't excuses for you not to be connected with who you are as an individual woman, but it does make you busy. And so in that busy, remember who you are. So when you get to the other side of it, you haven't totally forgotten who you are. It's always fine to tap into yourself, what you like, what you don't like, all of those things that frighten you. That's another thing, Cheryl. Everything that crosses your mind that you think, oh, I might like that, and it frightens you, do it.
Yes, if it scares you, it's worth trying. Right.
Absolutely.
Jump in.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, be your own date. I know I had a loss of a very, very close friend right around my birthday. And initially I just decided I wasn't going to do anything. It was a milestone birthday and I was just going to skip it. And then I had birthday cake at 7 a.m. with my coffee. I put candles on it. I blew them out myself. I drove into DC. I had breakfast by myself. I went to a play by myself. I, of course, stopped in Macy's on my way back by myself. I created a date for me. And if you can do that part, the rest of it will just fall into place. You don't need anybody else to bring you joy. I used to joke I bring the party with me, although I don't party like that anymore. Bring it with you. Be as Bessie says, be your own company.
Right.
And just, and there's so many things that you will enjoy or that you have enjoyed, like Marie said, go back to those times where you said, if I only had enough money, I would do this. Or if I only had enough time, I would do this. Now, hopefully you have the money, but you have the time.
Absolutely.
What I would say, two things. You're constantly evolving, right? And this is something I have to remind myself. And Maurice and I were actually having this conversation the other day. If someone was to say, "Who are you?" I might not be the same person that I was 5 years ago, and I might not be the same person that I am today, tomorrow.
Right.
Be willing to evolve and change and redefine how you see yourself, how you want to live your life. And the thing that you mentioned the word busyness. During this whole pandemic, if you will, it's given me an opportunity to re-examine busyness, right? So we're always constantly busy, trying to win the busy Olympics. Like there's always so much that we have to do all the time. And so you never really get an opportunity to stop and think, do I want to do this stuff? Is this benefiting me? Is this something I want in my life? And now, like I said, during the pandemic, it gave me an opportunity to really think about what are things that I want to continue. Because I could not do those things by the times that we were quarantined. So use this opportunity to you're not as busy. And I'm not saying that the other items were, distractions, but you don't have that same level of obligation. You can focus on other things that you may not have had the time to focus on, and just truly think about, is this something that you want to do, something you want to participate in, and look at that as the continuing evolution of yourself.
Well, the pandemic is the gigantic power of no. And we were really able, Alma taught me how to say no. And we don't do it, and this gives us the opportunity to pause and think about that. And I've already made a list of what I'm going to do when it's safe to go back outside. And that, I'm a fan of lists. So anybody
Me too.
Create a list, tape it up on the wall, tape it on the bathroom mirror. This week I'm going to do this, and this week. Start with one day, and then expand it to other days and months and years.
And I would say, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Emma.
Go ahead, Maurice. No, go ahead.
I would say, once you find yourself and you have created a life that you enjoy, don't let all those people and all those things come back.
Right.
No, they will be looking for you.
They will be.
If you become that, and I've had to learn that with my family, if you become that dependent person on certain things, and you've created a life or what have you outside of that, they are always expecting you to be that person to do those things. And like Dee was saying, that's the perfect opportunity to test yourself and test to see, are you living in your life and your truth, in order to be able to say no. Because you've given them so many years and so much time. This time is yours, and celebrate that this time is yours and it's not theirs anymore. They can
and I think sometimes when we're busy, we only do the things that we know we can accomplish or that we know we like. And in this situation, you can try all of those things that you may not have ever considered. Like I imagine everybody here has eaten something during the pandemic they would have never eaten, under regular circumstances. You get the opportunity to just try. And then you can say, okay, I knew I didn't like this, and I really don't like this. Oh, wow. I never considered doing this. I'm not going to hang glide, but that might be your thing. And, and just go out and try it.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do that.
And your first no is the most difficult one. And the other thing that I want to say too, not to, because all of us have talked about this. I've had this conversation with Javon. I've talked, Maurice has sat there and had to sit through it. I've had this conversation with Dee. But the other thing too is your first no gives you the confidence for the rest of the no's. Because, I have had to say, I remember, I was pretty much a person who my mother would make the go-to person. Oh, I'll get Alma to do it. Oh, it's okay. Alma can take care of that. Oh, no problem. I'll call Alma and she'll do that. And you know what? When my mother was alive, it was fine. I did it, but whatever. But I do have to say on the other side, and there was a time that I said to my mother, and this is for believers, I'm not Jesus. So you know what? Pray and take it upon yourself to do some things. Like it doesn't always have to come from me. And me contributing doesn't always mean that's what you needed. It was just what I decided to do on your behalf at the time. But it could have very well been blocking a humongous blessing for you. So a lot of times you need to hand it back to the person. What can you do for yourself? Because it really, if you find it hard to say no, or if you feel like you always have to be the one to fix it, then check yourself, because you're not. You don't always have the answer. It doesn't always have to be you fixing it. And yeah, I know that was hard. That it took a minute for me to let that fall out, because I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings, and I got mad love for you. But I had to check my own self. I asked myself, Alma, why you think you the only one that can make something better? Like, what kind of ego is that?
It's you and Jesus.
Right.
Working a miracle.
Right. No, like move out of the way and let people formulate their own answers sometimes.
But but it is difficult if that's who you've been your whole life. It is a challenge to not be that person.
Right.
More so instead of nixing the people that you love, you just have to decide that it's time for me, and all of the things that I do from now on are for me. Not for my adult children, not for my parents, not for my boss, any of those people. It's right now, it's me. And if you have to keep saying, no, that's not for you, that's for me.
Right.
I'm doing this for me. Right. It's me time. It really is a process to decide that you're going to be the priority, especially when you are used to being the supporter and the giver. But now's the time. Now's the time to do it.
Boundaries.
If you are a person, this is one way I can suggest that she do it. It may sound crazy, but if you are a person that you are stuck in your own way, create an alter ego. Step out as that alter ego. Let that alter ego be the person maybe that you want to become.
Yes.
And then as you cultivate that person, is this the person that I really want to be? And let that be you.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, mine got arrested, but okay.
Girl, I wasn't gonna tell nobody. You had to bring it up.
I think that should be a question for next week, because I want to hear this one.
Right.
But that is true.
But often, if you just think about who you were, if you think who you were at 21, 25, I think all the time, like, I remember when I was 30, I was a bad. Like, I said, I wish I could be her again. And it really isn't that I can be her again. I just had to decide that I want, Kay says, find your Sasha Pierce. That's Beyonce's alter ego. Yeah. Right. It's all a process, and it won't, like Alma said, it won't happen overnight. No. But once it happens, it's just going to be dynamic.
Yeah, because even I want to keep this going, because there are two more points that I want to bring up, and so we'll save the third question for next week, because I do think this is really important. Leah had commented, I remember when I called Alma on my first no, you really have to be confident in your first no. I'm telling you, the first one is all you need. And no is a complete sentence. Not no because I got to do this. Not no because I don't have it. No because no. The answer is no. And you want to know why you want to be able to do that? Because you want your children to be able to do that.
Yes.
You want your grandchildren to be able to say no. Thank you. Like you don't. It's a sentence. And in my opinion, as women, it is an opportunity for us to stop carrying these loads. Who made it our responsibility? Some men probably would like for you to hand some of it to them because you're not. And even if you do, then you want to tell them how to do it. Remember, Dee, we had that conversation about loading the dishwasher.
Yeah, the dishwasher.
Don't tell your husband how to load the dishwasher. Just ask
Let them do it.
Dishwasher. Right. It's
and
going to wash all of
the
them.
dishes after he cleans them. Just you don't care how you stick them in the drain. You don't care how they look. You don't care if they fall out the drain. You don't care about any of that. If he washed the dishes, let it be.
Let it be. Now here's the thing. Now here's the thing. One tip I can give you. When you do that, because I've had to do it otherwise, you need a name brand dishwashing detergent, though. Ain't no doubt about that. It can't be the cheap one, girl.
No, right.
It can't be the cheap one, girl.
Nowadays we know how to load a dishwasher. We can do that.
Baby, you got me, right? You got me. You know how to load a
conversation was specifically about hand washing dishes, because I remember the conversation about the drain. Because we all have ways we want it done.
Yeah.
And we'll follow behind you and tell you that's how it should have been done.
Right.
But the point is if it's being done, let it be.
Let it be.
Right.
Let it be.
Let it be.
Because that gives you more time to answer the questions you need to answer for yourself and not use that as an excuse not to be dealing with some me time. And the other thing that I wanted to run by you guys so we can, share with her a little bit, which is why I haven't gone on to the next question. But, she said her mom passed away, and it is very difficult to get past that. And one thing that I want to share with you is one thing that I know for sure, not because my mother has passed away, but because I am a mother. Your mother doesn't want you to be sad forever. And that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow when it's happening to you. Because I went into a huge depression when my mother died for 10 years. So, I'm giving you advice. I was 10 years in the dark. Like, Leah called me. Everybody knows I talk about my niece, Leah, all the time. She called me. She was like, girl, what is this? Because this is what we're not going to do. My friend Dee was like, you know what? Yeah, we sad for you. But you know what? Wash your face and brush your damn teeth. Girl, and it was funny because my cousin Tracy, I'll never forget, we were talking on the phone. I was like, I'm so sad because mama passed. And she was like, girl, it's been 5 years. I said, no, it hasn't. She was like, yeah, you need me to show you the calendar? It's been 5 years. And I ain't mad at you. Be sad, but it's been 5 years already. And you know what? Sometimes you need the person who loves you and looks out for you to slap, slap, slap. We all sorry. Pass the tissue. But what is your next step? And so I want to take this opportunity to say to you, for your mom, snap out of it. Because the last thing she wants you to be is sad. Think about it. When it's time for you, do you want your children to cry and be in a depression every day? No. And I say that to Josh now. I go, Josh, don't be sad when I die. He's like, what? I'm just telling you, like it pop up in your brain. I want you to know, don't be sad. Like, I don't want you to be sad.
Right. And you want your children to live in the joy that you give them.
Yes.
And you want them to pass that on to the next generation and next generation. I mean, and I can't even imagine what that pain feels like. And I don't know your mother, but what I know about you is that she had to be an incredible. And I've done this twice with Alma. I've thanked her parents for giving her to me. And if you look at it that way, then you know that your mother's presence was such a joy to so many people that should
give you life.
It won't sustain you every day. But
No.
the thought of her doing things that, even, baking or whatever it is she did, running things, it will bring you joy, and then you won't live in that sadness.
Right. And you will cry. There are moments, and you can cry, and that's fine. Cry it out. But then feel the strength of your mother saying, girl, get yourself together. Because that's what all mothers say. Get yourself together. You got to, suck that in too. And when you do that, it's not disrespecting her or her memory. It is not. The fact that you are looking for joy does not disrespect her at all.
Patti LaBelle has a song called Love Never Dies. And I've actually shared it with a bunch of friends, and that's what she says. She says, get up, get up, suck it up, stop that, right?
Yes.
Because no matter because the person isn't physically here, she lives in you.
Yes, absolutely.
I think one thing in Haitian culture is like this, where you don't consider them, they're just not with you, they're not dead, because it's, how does it go, you're not dead until the last person forgets about you. So if family talks about you, you're never gone, you're always there in some form. But I want to share a story real quick, and it kind of leads to this. My son at 9 years old was told that he has 3 years to live. And we came home, and he's cracking all these jokes and said, remember when I did this? Remember I did it? I'm bawling. And I said, Jaden, are you okay? He says, yeah. He said, they told me, not you. And he was like, Watson, why are you bringing up all these stories? He said, because that's all I want you to remember. He said, I want you to remember that. I don't want you, he says, now, stop your damn crying, shut the hell up and keep going. And I realized, hold up. I said, are you cursing at me? He said, they just told me I'm dying. I'm going to say the hell I want to say for the next 3 years. But they figured out what was wrong with him. But and what he was saying was, just remember the positive things. And remember that I'm not gone anywhere. I'm still going to be around to, be there for you. Memories never die. Like Lillian said. It's the same thing with your parents. They never die, because certain things you about to do, and they say, oh man, such and such would kill me if I do that.
Right. That's right.
We would always say, oh, Freddie Lee, he my father passed a couple of years ago. It's like, oh, he would lose his mind if this and this and this. So the person never dies. You just remember those things and you keep moving. As time goes on, it gets easier. But if you wallow in it, you don't move forward.
And that's not what they wanted.
Right. And you lose positive memory when you do that, because you wallowing in sorrow. You start to forget the positive things, the things that were funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And the things that you shared. I remember, that's funny. You should say that, Maurice. And thank you for sharing that story, because that's heartbreaking. Although your son is fine, I'm sure even remembering it is absolutely heartbreaking. And my sister Kim, who passed away, everybody knows that, she set Gill and me up on a blind date. And long story short, the next morning when I got to the hospital, she was like, did you have a good time? So I was like, wait, first of all, why did you tell that man I wanted to go out with him? So she was like, look, girl, I'm dying. I ain't got all day. And we both just bust out laughing because they, it really made me think, like, she knows that she's dying and she's trying to bring joy and laughter. So, when she passed on, although that was another one, it took me 20 years. I just thought she was in the Bahamas because that's how I could deal with it. And I think, that's something else, like we were talking about Sasha Fierce, or, build these other bridges that you can handle stuff. If you need to think that your mom is on a cruise, think that for a while until you can get to a place where you can think about her and cry with happy tears.
Yes.
Right.
And so the sad tears won't overwhelm you. But I really, 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 from the bottom of my heart, want to extend my condolences to you that your mom passed away. I am so right there with you in this. And I just want to remind you that she loved you very much and she wants you to find your joy. It's okay. Find your joy. Y'all, oh my gosh, I just love it when we're all together. Time is up. It's been an hour already. Can y'all believe it?
Wow.
It's been an hour already. I know
it goes very quickly.
It does. So, Maurice, I'm coming over your house. I know where you live. I can walk. I can walk over to your place.
I remember the last time I saw you walking, you were out walking and you were on the phone. You said, you was talking to somebody on the phone. You said, hold on, come here. What you doing? What you up to? Was like I had a laundry list of 5 questions. What you doing? What you up to? Da, 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 da. Okay, all right, bye. Give me a hug. All right, bye.
That sounds like me.
And walked off.
And kept on.
But she will put you on hold. She's the multitasker. You're like, hello, are you still there?
Right.
She's carrying on a complete different conversation with a whole nother group of people. You're just waiting.
Yes, I multitask.
She invented caller ID. except she doesn't put you on hold.
She just puts you in the queue.
You just there was part of the conversation.
Put you in the hold up. Wait a minute. That's her hold. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Yes, exactly. That's where you are.
Thank you, Javon. Love you to pieces. Thank you, Maurice. You know I love you to the moon. Didi girl, you know how we with my
I got you.
So everybody, thank you so much for watching us at 7:00 when it's still daylight outside. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. So thank you again. We'll see you guys next Tuesday at 7 on Ask Alma Live. Bye.
Bye-bye.